Hi guys, SmartHER News is really at an inflection point, and I really want your opinion on the way forward because I'm building SmartHER News for you. And I was starting to get a little bit stressed out about what's next. And I had this moment last week where I thought, none of what I'm thinking about really matters because ultimately I'm building SmartHER News for other people to serve other people. So I can think whatever I want about the plan. It's the real question is, does it actually work for you? And one of my pet peeves in general about businesses is that we have all this access where we're able to talk to each other all the time through social media. And I know it can be a little phony sometimes. I get it. I personally don't think we are or you are in any way, but there's this way that we can talk to each other and get instant feedback. And so I always want to have what I call board meetings with you. Companies have board of advisors, they have shareholders, they have investors, but the most important person is the customer and whether it's working for the customer. So that's what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about tonight. I won't take a lot of your time, and I just kind of want to map out for you where we're at because it's really, really exciting. A couple years ago when I was thinking about my next steps in journalism, I had many people tell me that there is no audience for nonpartisan news, that people don't want it, that in order to survive in this industry, you would need to have a point of view. And I fundamentally disagreed with that. I thought that just wasn't true. What I was hearing from viewers and readers and using social media was that they wanted to know where to get the news. That it was like this crazy thing. Like, where do you go to get the news? That's the number one question I got as a news anchor. Where do you go to get the news? I'm like, the fact that you're even asking that question is a problem. And so I know there's a lot of conversation about what's wrong with the media today, what's wrong with the news, media bias or elitism or any of that stuff. And we could have a long conversation about that at some point. But what I found myself reflecting on a couple years ago is we can talk about that problem all day, but who's going to solve it? Like, who's going to step forward and solve it? And I wanted to be part of the solution. And so that's where the idea for SmartHER News was born. I didn't think that I was going to go into entrepreneurship. I was at a really important part in my career, and I met with media executives across every single network. And what I will tell you right now is that despite the perceived differences, all these media executives are really thinking the same thing, that people wanted more opinion in their news. They wanted more point of view. They wanted something gritty. And I was thinking, no, I think people they just think they need the news. That's what I think they get. I think the news shouldn't make you feel terrible. I think news in America is the only business that makes you feel worse after you arrive and then leave and somehow survives. Can you imagine if a restaurant did that? Like if you went into a restaurant and they actually made you feel worse about yourself and then they were like, we'll see you tomorrow. It never would work. So I don't know why we think that's the way things need to work when it comes to news delivery. So I thought, what do people need? They need quick, concise, nonpartisan news. They need it seamlessly in their life. A lot of people can't sit down and watch television. They need it when they need it. We can't tell them to show up somewhere. And I really noticed that this was a problem for women, which is where the idea for SmartHER News was born. The life of an American woman has changed drastically in the last several decades, but the way that we deliver news to her hasn't changed at all. And so, I thought, well, there's some place that I can start there. I can start. And I thought, what do people want from the news? They want to feel smarter. SmartHER, smarter. Okay, cool. Maybe that's it. I'm gonna develop that platform. That's really where it came from. And part of the reason why I chose SmartHER, because some of you have asked this, is because SmartHER News without the HER was not available. The website wasn't available. So I thought, okay, that's okay. Instead of trying to tackle this huge problem, let me take my peers and try to deliver to them. I bet if I deliver to women well, then men will follow. And that's exactly what's happened. And as you know, we don't cover like female news. I mean, I wouldn't even attempt to do that. We just cover the news, and it's in small bites, in high quality. Works for any gender, any age group. That's what we're about. Nonpartisan, both sides of the story, I trust you to make up your own mind. I actually think you're already smart. This is just adding a little something, like a dash of something to your life. I want to complement the life that you're leading. Now, I do have news though. I do have big news. So how did I build Smarter News? For the time, I basically worked since I'm 15 years old in a lot of different jobs, and I would always put a little bit of money away to my savings and saving for a rainy day. And that's essentially what I use to help me build Smarter News, because it does cost a little bit of money. But the news that I have now is that actually I'm the owner of SmartHER News as well. So no HER. We were able to find the person that had bought that website in the 1990s, and we were able to purchase it. So I just see big plans for SmartHER News, huge plans for us. And I really do believe that we're at this really key point, because now you exist. I don't have to prove that people want nonpartisan news. You're already out there. And that's so amazing to see and so gratifying. And I'm so grateful that this is working for you. And I want it to work for you better. Like, I want to improve it. I want you to have anything that you really need when it comes to news. I really want to solve this problem. I want to be a force for good in this industry. And that may sound ideal, but like, who's idealistic, but who's going to do it? Like, if no one steps forward and says, yeah, I'm going to leave traditional news, I'm going to walk away from everything that I built, and I'm going to throw myself into entrepreneurship. I mean, it sounds crazy. That's actually what happened. And then I'm going to have a couple kids. I'm like, yeah, that's basically what's taken place. But that's important, because now that I've stepped outside of kind of the bubble, I have even a better idea of, I think, what people actually need from their news. And, fake eyelashes are great. I really miss those. But I can deliver news to you that I think is just as good in a shorter period of time with less makeup. And I think it's okay. So here's the question that I'm at. And I really want your feedback on this. So we want to grow. And I've hired a new team. We're going to revamp our website. I really like them. I feel like we're in the position to start really, just getting a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, but it's just like, I just feel like we're growing at the right time, And now we have to figure out, how do we get the resources to actually support our endeavor? And it's difficult as an entrepreneur, because you at some point have to just invest the money in it in order for it to grow, right? So the chicken and the egg kind of question. So one of the ideas that has come up with this website rebuild, and also including SmartHER News, it's all going to sound the same, is that there would be gated content. Now, let me just stop you for a second. You'll notice on our website or on our Instagram feed, we don't do any advertising. I actually built the website with no advertising on purpose, because I hate pop-up ads. I hate them. I hate them passionately. And if I'm going to build a business, I'm not going to include things that I hate. So I hate pop-up ads. I hate lame ads that suddenly cover the entire screen so you can't get to the content. I don't like subscriptions. I don't like gated content. I don't like things that prevent me from accessing information, because we have this thing called Google. And so you can just go around it and find another way. And I want this to be really convenient for you. So I don't like any of those things. The problem is that basically I'm destroying every single channel of potential revenue for our company. And so we have to be creative and think of a new way to do this, because we need to support the company in a way that makes sense. So that's why you'll see, like, we have our different products. We started selling little products like this way. We're not doing any marketing. So this is a great way. We've started to sell our tumblers with our little slogan on it, and it's a way to support the business. And also, you're spreading the word about SmartHER News, which is invaluable to us. And we have, hold on, let me show you. This just came in. Hold on. I don't know if you guys, some of you probably didn't see this, but I cut a hole in a previous sweatshirt by accident. But we're gonna have these really cool, like, hoodies. So we're gonna have, like, fun products. And I've priced these so that they're comparable to if you paid $1 a month for SmartHER News, for example. So instead of a subscription, it would be great if you could actually get something cool. That's how I would like to run a company. But eventually we're going to have to think of other ways to support it. And that's where I'm at right now. I toyed with the idea of gated content. So that would mean that, you would get a couple minutes of a video, but then to see the whole thing, you would have to have a subscription. And for some people, that might be easier than buying something. So that's what I'm really curious about for you. Me, I don't like it. I don't like that idea. Probably not going to do it. Unless all of you tell me that's what you want. There's also ways that we can set up, if you like wanted to donate money to SmartHER News, you could do that too. But what I really want to do is basically be able to highlight SmartHER products. So I love it when people share cool things that they've learned about. And so I was thinking on maybe a couple days a week, you'll know that these are the days that we feature our SmartHER products. And that can be our way that we can do advertising that can actually be productive, where you would get the backstory of the company. So it's sort of interesting. We create value for you and for the company. And then we have partners so that, some of those partnerships would be another source of revenue. But I'm just sort of curious for you as a user, like what would be best for you? Would you mind ads on the website? I don't want them on the website. Would you prefer that there's some sort of subscription? I don't. But we're going to have to figure out something. Just as we're changing the way that news is delivered, we're also going to have to change the business model too to support it, because I want to hire more writers and more copy editors. And the reason why it's called SmartHER News and not Jenna's news page is that I want it to be bigger than me. I want you to be able to get really reliable information on any number of topics. I want you to get to know people on our team as we grow it. And I want you just to have this real destination where you can trust the information. That's all. It's really basic. So that's what I'm asking you today. How would you like to support SmartHER News? What would that really look like to you? And if you have any ideas or thoughts on that, just comment. You can also direct message us, or you can email me, hello@smarternews.com. So just think about it. No big deal. Nothing, no pressure. But because we're doing the website rebuild, there are certain things that we need to include with the website so that it's actually functional when we hope to relaunch it at the beginning of the year, which I'm really excited about. So that's all, folks. How's everyone doing tonight? I just thought I would just check in. I love seeing you guys. It's great to see you. Oh, Anna Koyman is on. Anna Koyman is great. She's someone I worked with for many, many years. She's now in Australia. She's a mom. She has her own platform. She does do news and reporting, but she also does health and wellness, and she's great. So if you can, follow Anna. Hi, Maria. Maria's also a great supporter. Really appreciate you, Maria. It's, this is what's really fun. Hi, Courtney. I feel like I know you guys, probably means I'm on social media too much. Probably if there was a psychologist, they would think it might be a little too much. But to me, this is part of running the business. In like a restaurant, I want us to be your neighborhood spot, a place where you go, where you feel comfortable. That what's on the menu every day may be different because the news fluctuates, but ultimately you're going to feel good for having come here because we're going to deliver to you and we're going to take care of you. And that's how I want you to feel from us. Like, that's how the news should feel. Why should you feel bad for staying current? Like, you should feel good. Like, you should feel really, really good for staying current. And so the idea with SmartHER News is high quality, low quantity, over a course of time. It's great. It's like a full meal. See how that works? All right, guys. So listen, I see the comments now. I wish I could just stand here. Oh, Caroline says ads on the website. Really? I'm open to it. I'm actually totally open to whatever you guys want to do. Megan says no ads, but I would absolutely pay for a subscription. Okay, cool. It's a huge compliment. I really appreciate it. The other thing is though, and I'll be really honest with you, this is where it's just a difficult, challenging part of my life. And I don't, we're leveling with each other, right? With 3 little kids and a husband who's also an entrepreneur, it's going to be very difficult for me to know how much I can produce every week. So there are some weeks where I feel really good about what I'm producing and the videos I'm producing. And I'd love to get a better editing team so that I'm doing all the editing myself. So it would be great to have some support there. but if my husband's gone and my 4-year-old's sick and my 15-month-old is up all night, it's difficult. I don't know if I have the confidence to be able to sustain a certain level of content production right now alone. And so that's what I worry about sometimes, because I don't want to let you down. And so what I can do now is that when the news warrants it, I can jump on and we can talk. And when the news doesn't, then I can leave you alone. And I actually think that's a really healthy way to produce the news. When you have an hour of time that you have to do every day, which I used to do, then you got to fill it. And that's why I think you do get a lot of programming. That's a lot of angry debating over policy or politics, for example. That's kind of like the junk food of news. Do you notice that? Like if you were to watch a news program, there's some really valuable bits, and there's some great journalists out there. So no, it's I believe in great journalism on a lot of levels, but a lot of it is junk food. And that's what I can eliminate right now, because I don't have to fill time. I can do it when it's really valuable. Like last night, I was like, man, Afghanistan, we got to talk about it. And we did. Jimmy Lee says, I don't really like having to pay for a bunch of different subscriptions. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. And I can't keep track of them all. Do you notice that? And then you're on a subscription cycle and you look at your bank account and you're like, how did I just spend, $10.99 for the last 6 months? I didn't even know what that was for. Something just falls through the cracks. I don't like that. And I have a hard enough time keeping track of that, So anyways, that's the story. I know this has been a little longer as always, because I like talking to you guys. But right now, I think the path forward is a combination of a couple different things. So we might even just test out some things. And I want your feedback, because like I said, we're building Smarter News for you. I'm not building it for myself. I want it to work for you. And as you change and evolve with your news consumption, and as our technology changes as well, we want to meet you at different points in your life. So that's why we have the newsletter. That's why we have what we're doing on Instagram. That's what we have on the website as well. So, all right, guys, that's enough. Get the hook. Get the hook. Get me out of here. But keep your comments coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for, making this dream a reality. I'm really hopeful about the future, and I know it's going to work out. I just feel like the news is something that I know, and the business side of it is not something I'm as comfortable with, because I'm not willing to compromise. And that's a great spot to be. At the beginning of all of this, people thought, well, you should get an investor. You can get investors and you can do that, you should do fundraising. But then you actually have to answer to somebody. And the one reason I did not do that, and there's several reasons I didn't do that, but one of them is I wanted to establish a relationship with you so that you always knew that no one was behind the scenes pulling the strings, that there was no one that we owed money to, that there was no one that we owed loyalty to, that we're working off our own compass when it comes to news delivery. And eventually, if we got to be a huge company and we were able to get investments but we would make the calls. And you want to know what would make our company powerful above anything else? Is you. 100%. It's the only thing that matters. Because if you have an audience, then basically nobody can tell you nothing. It's true, right? It's interesting. I'll just leave you with this final thought in general. Whether we're talking about the presidential elections, we're talking about celebrities, we're talking about the news, news agencies. Ultimately, all these people work for you, And it's funny how infrequently you're reminded about that. They all work for you, and you could fire all of them at any point. So don't forget that. If you want to check out our gear, you can go to just smarternews.com/shop, and you'll see what we have up there. And then I'm hopeful that a couple new products are coming on Small Business Saturday, the day after Thanksgiving. we're keeping our fingers crossed on that. I need to feel the final products because I just want to make sure they're exactly the quality that we want, because again, we don't compromise. So, all right, guys, books. Jalen Schultz asking a question. Books. Do you want me to write one? No, I can't do it. I can't do it. No, actually, I have a couple chapters ready to go at a certain point. Oh, I'm so glad, Paige. You said you're awesome. I love my Smarter News mug and shirt. I'm so glad. And oh, I love this. You guys are saying you'd buy stock at our company. Great. Maybe we'll be a public company someday. Why not? Let's go right to the New York Stock Exchange, right? All right, guys, great talking to you. Really appreciate all your feedback. Keep it coming. Comment on this video. Think about it. I know you got a lot on your plate these days. I don't want to add to it, but I also didn't want to hesitate having a moment to talk to you about all of this as we're making some of these big decisions. So I'm going to get back onto the site. This is a great story, so it doesn't matter when you're watching this. There we go. I don't know if you guys know about this charity called Wreaths Across America. They are a nonprofit that places wreaths on headstones for military service members during the holidays. And they got the sudden news that they would be canceled because of COVID-19, and that decision was quickly reversed. But this is allowing us to talk a little bit about what they do and a little bit about the history of some of our more prominent military cemeteries. So it just shows how one person with an idea many, many years ago, a man who made wreaths in Maine and had some extra wreaths, just decided to lay them on the headstones of military service members in Arlington. And now, so many years later, they lay more than 2 million wreaths across the country. So it's a really cool group to know about. So that's going to be on our website later, and you can always access that on our search function, Wreaths Across America, if you're watching this later. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm getting back to work. I'll leave you alone. I hope you have a great night. And thank you so much for your support of smarternews.com. Bye. And I thought somehow that dating a soldier would sway me and not enable me to be a good journalist. True story. And then I realized that if I applied that same thinking